Hello campers, Dr. Dickey here. Time for another update. I have at this point processed 2,400 cells. That means that I capacity tested them, I tested them for IR, I got them all charged up, they all sat for at least 30 days or more, and they held a voltage greater than 4.15 volts. Charge them up to around 4.2 volts. And I've put them all into a spreadsheet with their internal resistance and their voltage. And that is, again, 2,400 cells. Internal resistance of all these cells were somewhere between 33 and 37 milliohms. I didn't take any cells that were 37 or greater in milliohms, and anyone that had any voltages that were less than 4.15 after 30 days. Now, a few of the cells after somewhere between 30 days or 60 days and 6 months had a potential now of 4.145, which rounds up to 4.15. So they're all very similar in potential. They're all very similar in their internal resistance. The capacity of all the cells were between 2.8 milliamp hours and 2.6 milliamp hours. And even the 2.8, I think that was a little fluky thing that I got from the capacity testers that I was using. But now has come the time to start building the packs. I am going to modify the spacers that I use. I showed you the spacers before. I'm going to modify that slightly, and I'm going to do it so that I think I can get a handle to be able to pick up the cells packs when I put them into or pull them out of. But that means we're to the point where it's time to start welding. So I have to go through, I'll show you the system that I have that I'm going to use for welding, and I'll show you the settings that I got. And then hopefully within a week or so, we'll start welding up packs. Okay, so let's get to the welder. All right, this is the welder that I'm going to be using. It's from Electrics. I've got it with the fuse case, and I've got it with the case, which is very, very nice. And it's very adjustable. You can set it. I have mine set to an auto pulse. That means when I put the two welding tips on, it's going to delay for about a half a second, and then it's going to put a pulse through, and I can set the pulse width. I found about 3 milliseconds is the good pulse width, which will weld the wire that I'm using onto it. I'm using 28 gauge bus wire to be able to weld. I will weld that from the cell. So let's go through and I'll show you sort of the setup. All right, I'll try to keep my fat fingers out of the frame, but I don't know if I'll be able to do that, and I'll show you what I've learned. So again, I have the Electrics welder set to 3 milliseconds. I found that's probably about the best. The thing that I learned is you need to use sufficient pressure to prevent a really big pop. If you just use a little bit of pressure, like this, see how you get this big sparks? It actually welds the welder to the thing. And sometimes you can get a huge pop out of it. Instead, what you want to do is you want to take this wire, you can see where it's been burned there. Take the wire, place it where you want it, put the positive lead down on there, and then give it a good push down, and you'll just see a little pop. And that 3 milliseconds will weld that wire on there. I mean, that is on there. I cannot pull that off. If I try and pull it, I'll end up breaking it rather than pulling it off. So I'm going to have to do that 2,400 times. Oh yeah, you know it's going to be so much fun. Let's see. Let me clip that wire off again. I can't rip it off. So I'll be doing it with the fuses actually on the positive side. This is the positive end of the 18650, and I'll be doing it with the fuses. And then on the back side, I'll be doing this, and again, that will weld that on there. Just gooder than anything. Okay, now that I've done it in such a way you couldn't see anything, let me see if I can do it in a way that you can see something. First, I'm going to show you what happens if you don't put enough pressure. You really do produce a rather large spark. See that? That's what happens if you don't put enough pressure down. So, you got to put sufficient pressure to really prevent it from popping like that. Let's try this one more time. Get it. Get your wire on there. Get your wire down. Try and get my fingers out of the way in a second. Get good pressure down on that. Good contact on everything. Another one, good contact. And you'll see it just gave a little pop. And that wire is on there. That's what I was trying to show you. So this Molectrix, I'll put a link down in the description below, but this Molectrix welder really just works fantastic. I'm extremely happy and extremely pleased with it. I think welding these things all up will be significantly easier than I thought they would be. So what's next? Well, I've got all the cells processed. I've got all the cells cataloged. That means each one has a number and they're sorted out in bins with 100 cells, starting at 1 to 100, 101 to 200, 201 to 300, and on and on and on, up to 2,400, so 24 bins of 100 cells each. I put them into Repack R. That has calculated 15 packs with a nominal capacity. I think it's 459 amp hours. And so now I've got to go through and take the cells out of the 24 bins, each one with 100, and put them into the packs in the numbers that our packer chose. So that's the next step, and that's going to be quite a process going through and sorting all those things. And again, I'm going to use a different method of separating the packs, so I'll show you both of those. I'll show me going through and starting to fill all those packs up, and then I'll show you what I'm going to come up with for the new separators that I'm going to use in these packs. Okay? Thanks for watching. See you in about a week or so, and I'll show you the packing process. Bye.